What's going on, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can import some mid-poly assets into Unreal Engine 5. Now, one of the biggest problems with working in Unreal Engine and cinematics is the majority of the assets you're going to find in Epic Marketplace are very low quality, low poly, because they're made for video games. So when it comes to mid-polys, I have to go elsewhere. So what you're looking at right now is the robot that I got. Whenever you're shopping for a mid-poly, you have to make sure that you are looking for a couple of things. One is that it actually has a mid-poly asset. So as you can see right here, we have a mid-poly FBX, which is good. Also comes with Blender, which is good. Comes with textures. And at the bottom right here, he was actually nice enough to include a low-poly Unreal FBX, which is good. So what we're going to do is actually compare the mid-poly, and then we're going to compare the Unreal Engine low poly so you can see the difference and to see if it's really worth the time. All right, so this mid poly right here actually comes with weapons. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to remove that weapon first and try to import this FBX to Unreal Engine 5 to see if we can do that. If not, we're going to have to troubleshoot and find our way to what we want to do. So I'm going to open up Blender, and I'm not a Blender professional. I know enough in here just to remove things and stuff like that. So if we're going to go import FBX tutorial folder, and I'm going to import that mid-poly 2013. Now in the future, my hope is that all of these amazing character creators will start including mid-poly, rigged mid-poly assets in their project files whenever you purchase them, so that we don't have to do this crazy stuff. So I'm going to go delete this, and this is nice because the gun is actually by itself, so that's good to go. And there's looks like there's a scope there. Okay, so I'm going to try to export this to Unreal Engine 5 just the way it is, because it looks like this one is actually rigged. So you can see BIP01. It looks like it's 3ds Max rigged, because BIP, that is a biped, as far as I know. So that is rigged, and I'm going to delete the light. So I'm going to go to Export FBX, Robot 1. We're going to do Armature and Mesh. I don't want the animation at all. Add leaf bones, and everything should be good to go. Export it like this, and I'm gonna see if I can try and import this. Now we have this folder, robot, BIP. Sometimes you can get this to work, which would be nice. And what we'll do is we're just gonna let this create his own skeleton, and we're gonna import that. All right, so you can see we got a couple of extra bones. So I'm gonna close this. And let's take a look at the bones. Select humanoid. Okay, so this one has bones. Let's take a look. Character, bones, all hierarchy. Ooh, what the? Okay. This, I'm not sure. I think this might be for the weapons here. He's got extra bones on here. So what I'm going to do is actually try and delete these extra bones. And you can see there's some funky stuff going on up here as well. There's a head nub, end. So I'm going to go to end, type end here, because there's a bunch of them. I'm going to try and just delete these. This is really part of the fun whenever you're trying to load in mid-polys in here. But yeah, it looks like he's got a couple of there. Okay, see, that's good. Is that a mouth bone? What is this? Gum. It's a gum bone. Interesting. All right, so let's take a look at these ends here as well. Toe nub. See if we can remove these. And really what we want to do is we can try and see if we can retarget this. Okay, so now the fun part is we're going to try and find the bones here. Looks like he's got lights down there. Why would you have lights? What? Let's see. The heck? So there's the pelvis, but he's got a bone right here that says lights. Okay. So for the pelvis, I'm just gonna go pelvis. And what I'm going to do is actually just fast forward this so you don't have to watch me do this. All right. Looks like we got all the fingers. I think the fingers were named differently, so that was tough. I'm gonna try and see what this is gonna look like. So I got everything assigned, all the bone names matched, the ones that I can do. That was a pain, but it's okay. Let's see if we can retarget this to a regular UE4 mannequin animation assets, okay? Now, we might get lucky. We might not even have to re-rig this guy. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the textures. Yeah, no. There's only a diffuse, and yeah, we're gonna have to replace these textures because we want the highest quality. This is 4K, but what I'm going to do is show you how to replace these textures so that we're getting it from, yeah, because that don't look good. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just gonna add, I have a crap ton of projects. I'm gonna add this anim set, the boss enemy animation. Add that in here. It should be right here already. So it looks like he's in a pose-ish. Yeah, okay, so that's good. That's close to the post here. So let's do in place. Let's look at this skeleton. Okay, look at the skeleton here. I'm gonna change this to humanoid. Everything is good. And let's go to retargeting options. Change the first two, or everything else but the first two, to skeleton. I'm compiling shaders, so it's a little bit slow right now, okay? Save. That's an A pose, close enough. So what we'll do now is right click, retarget anim asset. Now we have this robot skeleton. Okay, so it's telling me I need to have a preview mesh. Okay, so all we gotta do is drag and drop that asset in there and then try it again. There you go. Now it is retargeted. And I'm gonna go to this guy. I'm gonna change the asset to an animation and then see what happens. Okay, so the problem is I actually forgot to change the retargeting options here. The skeleton, so just select all of this and just retarget the skeleton, and this should fix that problem. I thought I did that, but I guess not. So we're gonna retarget again to this, and we're gonna change this to boss idle. Good. That looks good. So I'm gonna add him to a sequencer. It's nice, spell robot. And I'm gonna clear his I'm gonna clear this out because we're actually gonna apply it right here. So, robot, delete this, animation, this one. All right, so if I play this, oh, there it is. All right, show you the problem. See this arm right here? Yeah. That's what I ran into. So, I'm going to show you now is how to take this into Mixamo and get it rigged that way for free. But what I ended up doing was actually I had Visible rig this for me because he wanted to take a shot at it. Okay? So I'm going to show you that method as well. Everything looks good except for that arm. See that? Because this rig was for 3ds Max. So that being said, let's go back to Blender here, because what we're gonna do is actually remove the bones. So I'm gonna go remove all this right here. There you go. And I'm gonna add this to the collection as one. What is this thing? There is something like floating around here somewhere. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna join it, and we're just gonna reset this to 0, 0, 0, 0. All right. Okay, so now that we have this one mesh, we can now export this. FBX to Mixamo. I only need the mesh because there's no bones. Everything else should be good. And then I'm gonna export. Now going back to Mixamo, we're gonna upload that file. Now this is gonna take a minute, so. Okay, so we have our model here. Now it says it's better if you put it in T-pose, but we really don't have any choice. So we're gonna have to do this in A-pose. So we're gonna pick the chin, right around this area, the wrist as best as we can do it, around this area, and we're gonna do the elbows as well, right here. And you can always just, if you don't like the result, you can just keep trying it over and over again. And knees right here, and then we got the groin, should be around right here. All right, so let's go. Standard skeleton, use symmetry, good. So let's see if this Mixamo can rig this baby right here. Okay, so now we have this rigged up, and as you can see, the arm thing is not there. Okay, so I'm gonna go click next. I'm gonna click next on this, and now we're gonna get some animations for this character, and this is actually looking pretty good. Now I did try a Blender plugin called Auto Rig Pro, but I just couldn't get it to work. I guess wasn't good enough for it, but this right here in a couple of clicks, it's gonna rig your character for you. Like obviously there's gonna have some pros and cons. I mean, you saw how quick we did that, so it's gonna have some problems. And not all characters are gonna work with it. Let's just put it that way, okay? So I'm gonna choose this animation right here so we can kind of see how the feet's moving. It looks like it's working pretty darn well, okay? Now what I'm going to do is download this character, and I'm gonna do with skin, 60 frames per second, FBX, and no key reduction, and this is gonna download this. I can see a little bit of crack down here, but we'll take a look and see what this looks like whenever it's actually textured up. Okay, so we have the shoved reaction FBX downloading, as you can see here in the bottom left corner. We're gonna wait for that to finish, and I'm going to rename that so that it doesn't look funny like that. So I'm gonna copy that to our folder, tutorial folder, and I'm gonna change the name of this to Atom. And I'm gonna go back to Unreal Engine. I'm gonna go to my content browser, and I'm going to delete this one because we can't use it, even though I spent so many minutes trying to change the bone names to this character. It just didn't work out, but that's okay. It's part of it. It's a lot of trial and errors. That is how I am learning in here. New folder, and we're gonna do Atom now. I'm gonna drag and drop Atom in there. I'm not gonna create any bones at all, so I'm gonna import it just like that. I'm gonna drag and drop Atom, the skeletal mesh, in here, into our scene. Let's take a look at his skeleton now. If I go right here, it looks like everything is good. Select humanoid, and as you can see, this is gonna be Mixamo as far as the naming convention. So you can try to auto map this, but it's gonna get all funky, like the pelvis, head, top, end. That's not good. So what I'm going to do is Blender Padawan actually sent me a Mixamo bone mapping that I'm just gonna go ahead and include in here. This bone mapping Mixamo UE asset Blender Padawan actually sent me. So in theory, I should be able to just copy this and take it to my project files, and that should let me assign all these bone mappings, bone names, if you will, to the actual, it's right here, bone mapping Mixamo. Now I'm gonna go back to my skeleton, and hopefully this works. I'm gonna load, and there you go. Okay. I'm gonna save, and then we're gonna go to our retarget manager, skeleton tree. We're gonna go to our retarget options, and we're just gonna change everything down to skeleton. Save it. Right, so he's in a somewhat kind of a pose, so that's okay. I'm gonna save all. All right, so now we're gonna go to that boss enemy again, animations. So we're gonna go with in place. We're gonna go to boss battle entrance because that looks cool. Now we have the Atom skeleton. retarget. We're going to go to the sequencer. We already had one open. I'm going to delete robot 1 because we're actually going to replace that with Adam. Animation, boss battle. And there you go. No arm problems. Just like that. I mean, obviously, I have to fix the A-post a little bit. So you can see it's pretty close to his arms. So to fix that, we just really have to make this a little bit wider, because if you look at the other Epic Mannequin skeleton, it is wider, okay? Now what I'm going to do next is actually load up a little bit heavier of animation as far as movements, because you really want to test this out, you know? So we're going to do some dance mocap. Now this is pretty extreme here, but I really want to see if this rig will break. You know, I want to see if we can break this rig. Because if it breaks, depending on the work you do, you might actually have somebody to re-rig this for you from scratch. So to cancel it, I just really need the animations here. So I'm going to go to the more motions, animations, dance mocap 1. And we'll try this one first. Okay, so this one moves, so that's good. I'm going to go right here. Everything is humanoid, set to humanoid already, perfect. And we're going to change the root down to retargeting skeleton. Okay. Now we will make this guy a little bit wider as far as his pose. And as you can see, his shoulders kind of crunched up there. And like I said, you see this? That's not a good look. And that's because of the way it was auto-rigged. So you already see the problem that I'm running into. And that's why it's better to either A, have them already pre-rigged, or have somebody rig it for you from scratch. Save. Right click, retarget Adam. Adam skeleton. Oh shoot, he's a T-pose. Okay. No, that's not good. So let's take a look. Yeah, he's in a T-pose. So we will change him to an A-pose, and this is why I'm kind of frustrated with the whole A-pose, T-pose thing. Like, I just wish they would just figure something out and just use one. Make it a standard, you know? That would be nice. Go to modify, use current pose, that's close enough. Right click, retarget Adam asset, and retarget, go back to Adam. Okay? That's gonna compress animation. Click on animation. We have this anim high rhythm dance. And let's see if this will break here. Yeah, that's breaking underneath. You can see it warping right there. That's not good. So, depending on your case, this won't be good. For me, yeah, right here. See, that's not good. And that's because it was an auto rigger from Mixamo, okay? So that's that. I showed you how to do the animation and stuff like that. If that works for you, that's good. All right, but what I'm gonna do next is the last thing we're gonna do is actually apply the correct textures to this guy, and then compare it to the low poly from the package where we bought it from. All right, so here goes Adam, and you can see there's a lot of textures here. And what I'm going to do is actually delete all of these. Delete, 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 delete. All right, I'm going to delete all of them because we're going to be replacing it with the 3ds Max textures, okay? And I already have that downloaded into our tutorial folder right here, okay? So here we go. I'm going to drag and drop. You know what? For the sake of it, let's do it one at a time. Arm. Let's do arm first. And we will click the arm. I'm going to delete that, and we're going to drag and drop it here. I really like doing this. This is really fun. This is my favorite part. When I'm connecting dots like this. So go AO right here. It goes for ambient occlusion. And we're going to go with metallic right here, which is metallic. Which is nice, is 3ds Max textures kind of mimic the same exact way Unreal Engine deals with textures, and there's normal. Now with normal, we're gonna have to flip this. So make this bigger. There's an option right here, flip green channel. Go ahead and do that, save. You're gonna have to do that for all your normals. So here goes the arm again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're missing one. The roughness, right here. Okay, like that. Save. That's gonna replace the arm. As you can see right there, it's a lot shinier already. Okay, let's go with the body next. Okay, so I assigned every single texture in the materials, and now you're looking at the mid-poly version of that robot, and you can already tell it looks much better than what we had it originally. But what I'm gonna do is put them side by side. So I'm gonna open a new folder here, and I'm calling it robot poly or low, and we're going to pretty much import this low poly that it comes with in the package right here, FBX files for Unreal, and let's just take a look to see. All right, and it looks like I have to upload the actual textures. This one's easier because it's low poly, so there's only this right here. Well, that's the gun, so soldier, like this. Open this up. Same thing, we'll put the base color, and this is the normal. Now flip this side. Where the heck is it? Flip green. It's good. All right, open this up. I'm gonna drop it right here. Now this has occlusion, roughness, and metallic. So occlusion, I think roughness is green, and metallic is blue. Okay, now I'm going to drag and drop this here so we compare the two. Skeletal meshes. So we're going to add them in the sequencer side by side now. Here's Adam, and here is the robot low poly that it comes with. Click this here, and let's just delete this. Okay, here's the low poly. You can see F11, low poly version, game ready FBX file that we just imported directly, and here is the mid poly version. Now the question you're going to ask yourself is it worth with all that trouble? You know, all that trouble of rigging and putting all those textures in, is it worth doing? I think yes, it is for me, but the answer for you might not be no. And as you can actually see it right here, and the chest area for sure, you can tell the mid poly is much polished, in the head as well. This looks so much better than the low poly version. And in here as well, see this, a lot nicer. Okay, but the problem is rigging. You have to find somebody that can rig these mid polys for you. Okay, and I'm sorry that took a very long time, but I really wanted to show you all how I do mid polys from a store somewhere, download it, and get it to work with Unreal Engine 5.